Gentlemen, so do you know how in the past couple of years there have been IRL streamers and pranksters on platforms such as YouTube and TikTok who go around harassing people, destroying people's days because it's popular to do. Well, sometimes they face consequences. The first consequence, like the biggest consequence, was Johnny Somali, right? And now apparently there's a guy going around in like France stabbing people using needles. Now, let's see what's going on. I have seen the clips of it.
Good news and bad news. Let's start with the good. We'll feed you the dessert before we give you the vegetables. A prankster whose content revolves around terrorizing and harassing strangers in public is facing jail time in France. The bad news. It's only 6 months. His name is Elon Magnaron, or online known as Amine Mojito, or Amin Mojito. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce it. But his pranks were some of the...
Guys, I do think there's a huge problem in countries such as France, the UK, the United States, etc., where consequences are too soft for these kinds of crimes. Like, if you're going around stabbing people, I'm sorry, your prison sentence should be, like 10 years at least. Like, you can't just go around stabbing people. But then you go to countries such as South Korea and you start harassing people. Johnny Somali did this, and now he could potentially be in prison for like 20 years, 30 years. Why can't we do this? Get these fucking deranged freaks off the streets. Like, come on. There's something wrong with the government. They're just too soft on these kinds of crimes.
Classics that I'm sure we all grew up with and still giggle at, like we're getting tickled in our tummy. Like going to random strangers in public and jabbing them with an empty syringe and then running away, leaving them with the trauma that they may have just now been injected with either a drug or some kind of disease. Get pranked, nerd, right?
Well, no, because you also have to take into account that the anxiety that they might have been injected with something, that isn't like the worst part. It's the fact that he's stabbing people using needles. Like, you are stabbing somebody. That's worse than causing distress. Like, it's just infinitely worse. And I think the worst part about it is this kind of behavior is rewarded by the internet. And it generates clicks and views. And it also gets people talking about it every single time. So it's like the only way to stop this is, one, you need harsher laws for these kinds of people, and I think this kind of content shouldn't be allowed on YouTube or TikTok because you are stabbing people, or perhaps it's just a hot take. I'm gonna run away.
Mais nous avait menti. Hein. Oh, ça va?
This is his peanut butter and jelly prank right here, the feel-good one. He's done this a lot from what I can tell. I've seen tons of clips and videos of him just going up to people with that syringe and just, giving them the old stab on the street there, leaving them to just panic, wondering if their life is now just drastically changed from some fucking unhinged lunatic now. Now, from what I can tell, the syringe is capped. So he's not actually, like, penetrating the skin or anything with it. But the victims don't know that. All they feel is that hit against their skin, and then this guy with a syringe. Like, obviously, you are now going to start worrying in a big way.
Okay, so he isn't stabbing them per se, but he is he is causing distress and he is harassing them. All right, so it's still bad, but it isn't as bad as if he was actually stabbing them using a needle. All right, I think the sentence should be more like 8 years. You know, still harsh because you are harassing people just for clicks, but because you're not stabbing them, I think it's a bit less, you know.
Mais, depuis mois d'octobre, le chien, ben, casse-toi.
What are you doing?
What the fuck? What the fuck? Who the fuck are you?
Apparently these videos had caused a huge stir in the country, and the Paris...
Wait, guys. Do people casually speak English in France? So, like, I do know that they speak English as, like, a second language. But do they just casually speak English, like, on the day-to-day life as well? Because that guy just spoke English to that guy in France, right? I didn't know that, if that's the case.
Criminal court handed him a 12-month prison sentence with 6 to be served behind bars in the Slammer, and the remainder suspended over charges linked to harassment, threats, and prior offenses. Yeah, so I don't think 6 months is nearly long enough for something like this. This is unbelievably degenerate. This is just downright evil. Imagine, you're just hanging out in public, sitting on a bench, maybe on a phone call, waiting for the bus, whatever, and then some fucking douchebag here, who himself has been injected with cringe clearly, comes up and hits you with a syringe, leaving you to wonder, what was that even about? And then, let's say he does try and clarify, oh, it's just a prank, it's just a prank. Well, how do you trust that? I mean, how do you know it's just a prank? You have no way of fucking knowing.
You can't just go around harassing people and then say, oh, it's just a prank, bro. It's just a prank. Like, no. A prank is something dumb. Like, you ever seen those clips of those baristas bringing out, like, a coffee and they pretend to spill it on the person and it's just an empty cup? That's a prank. If that barista comes out and then tips a hot tea on them instead of a hot coffee, and then just says, "Oh, it's a prank," no, it's not. Like, these are two different fucking lines, and one of them is a bad one. The other one is just, all right, fine. It's amusing.
If he is now just lying, and he really did just inject you with something, you know, a drug, a disease, whatever, that's extremely scary. Like, if that shit happened to me, I would be living at a doctor's office for...
And plus as well, I think in France, they've got a healthcare system to where I don't think it's entirely free, but it's like partially free. So these people are going to have to go there, right, to make sure they haven't been injected with something. So that's going to cost the taxpayers a bunch of taxes, and it's going to cost the people a bit as well to pay the professionals to examine them to make sure they haven't been injected with something, right? So, like, this is like an actual crime that is higher than, oh, you know, half a year in prison. Like, bro, really? You have people going to prison in the UK for, you know, memes, like, just straight up just memes, and they get 20 months in prison. But if you go around and cause distress by pretending to stab somebody, you get half a year. Where the fuck are the priorities? These countries just have to change the laws. It's really bad.
For like a year. I'd be like a lab rat being tested every single day just to try and ensure for my own mental well-being that I didn't just get like injected with the fucking T virus or something from this guy.
And
I just don't think the courts went hard enough on him. They argued that his actions amounted to harassment, even describing him as a public menace. He also apparently already had a history of legal trouble, including prior accusations of assault and harassment. No, I'll eat my left shoe. I can't believe it. I haven't been this surprised since I learned Batman was Bruce Wayne. You're telling me the guy who thinks it's okay to walk around and stab people with a syringe on the street is someone who also has already had run-ins with previous accusations of assault and harassment? That doesn't make any sense. This guy, the prankster, the jokester, the turbo prank guy? No, that can't be. But at the end of the day, maybe this is all just a big misunderstanding, because according to him, the videos were just meant to entertain and make people laugh, which is so clear because everyone was having a big hoot and a holler after thinking they just got stabbed with a syringe in public. Everyone was giggling. He admitted in court, though, that he now regrets the content and underestimated the fear it caused. Victims testified to feeling genuine panic at the thought of being attacked with a needle, especially in an era where health concerns remain high. At the bar, he acknowledged that he himself would have feared if someone approached him with a syringe. I also find the audience for this kind of content, the fucking goobers who laugh at it, encourage it, and...
I do think the audience tends to be like kids. Like 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds, etc., right? So it's like, you can't blame them because I was 13 to 10 years ago. This is the kind of thing I would I would see this on TikTok and be like, that's so funny, right? But just because kids find it amusing, that doesn't mean the law can't, stop this from happening. Like, it doesn't mean that TikTok cannot stop this from happening. Just don't allow these people on your platform.
Just find entertainment in it are almost as pathetic as the pranksters themselves. Like, I truly think this kind of content could be like a clinical diagnostic tool for mental disorders, because if you like this kind of shit, there's something wrong with your brain. Like, you are actually just a full-blown fucking loser. Legal experts say the ruling highlights growing concerns over the limits of online prank culture and the responsibilities influencers must bear when creating viral content. Mojito's case has reignited debate in France about...
Guys, all of this started, by the way, with Logan Paul going to the suicide forest in Japan. Jesus. Like, all of these pranksters started about that time because he got a lot of views from that, and he became popular because of it. So, and now all these people are trying to do the same thing. And every time it becomes a bit more extreme than the previous time. And if this doesn't stop, it is going to become a lot worse. Like, people are going to be stabbing people using syringes, like the sharp ones. So I just... The laws in the West really have to crack down on these people.
Where free expression ends and public safety begins. How is there even a debate there? How in any way, shape, or form does this fall under free expression? He is going around harassing and assaulting people, making them believe that they have just been injected by a mysterious substance in a syringe from some fucking weirdo. In what way is that free expression? Are you allowed to just go up to someone in France and just punch them in the face? Or what about just some fucking whack job on the subway jerking off and, like, ejaculating onto a stranger? Is that free expression
speech.
too? Like, this isn't a free expression argument. Even though he didn't actually have the syringe filled with a disease or a drug or anything and wasn't like actually penetrating the skin or anything, it doesn't matter. The threat of it was still there, and he still did enact it on strangers.
I want to find something out. I think it's important to do this kind of research. Let's ask Grok. Do people have to pay to be how the hell do you spell examine? Got it? Oh, yeah. In France. I forgot to put a space. In France, healthcare is primarily provided through a public healthcare system. So it's kind of like the NHS, let's see. Most examinations, such as doctors, patients typically pay a small out-of-pocket fee, usually at 70%. Private healthcare. So, how much to be... Shit. How much to be examined to see if you being injected by the cost of an examination in France, you've been injected, depends on several factors. If you're enrolled, okay, most French residents, around 25 to 30 euros, about 70%, 17 to 21 euros. So it's about, what's that? About 750 to 9 euros that a person could be paying just to check. Blood tests. And there's also a possibility it could go into these as well, depending on if they think they've been injected with something. So you're costing the taxpayers, and you're also costing people themselves a bunch of euros.
So, what if it was a gun? What if he had a gun, was pointing it in people's faces, saying, I'm gonna kill you, I'm gonna kill you? It's just a prank, it's just a prank. Is that free expression as well? I just don't know how this can even be like an argument that's being had in France. Maybe it's just a prank, bro, is like an actual really sound strategy, which apparently employs free expression into it in some way. If you just say it's just a prank, bro, you get off very light with anything, maybe, which is crazy to me. Like I said, I don't think 6 months is nearly enough for this. And from what I was reading, apparently there's even been like scares in France at like festivals where people were like worried or had expressed run-ins where someone was like injecting people like with needles, apparently with like drugs or something. I don't know if that was ever confirmed.
Guys, it could be a hot take, this, but I think if he did, I think all of the instances where he did this to girls, I think the punishment should have been harsher, because girls do experience this kind of thing when they go to like clubs, right? Where like a guy like spikes their drink. So I think this causes extra distress against a woman over a man. So I think the punishment should be even harsher than what Critical is probably gonna think, right? But that's just like a hot take. I don't know.
Confirmed or not, but like that fear is already there. So this kind of prank preys on that, making it even worse. So it's just so fucking degenerate. I'm glad he's at least going to jail for a little bit, but it's not enough to teach him a lesson or anything like that. Like, I am pretty confident when he gets out, he's gonna go right back to this shit. He's hopping right back on the saddle. This isn't even like a deterrent to other pranksters or anything, because 6 months isn't like a long period of time there. They might deem all the internet attention worth it, because they'll get out and still have that audience that they built up from this trash. So again, while I am happy he is getting some time in the slammer, because even that seems pretty rare, even for the most diabolical of pranks, I just think it needs to be taken more seriously in order to prevent more of this kind of behavior in the future. So anyway, that's really about it. Just more dog shit prankster activity out there.
Yeah. I do think companies like TikTok and YouTube do have to stop this going onto their platforms, and the courts in the West have to be harsher on these kinds of people, especially if you're somebody who has done this kind of thing before.